Yes, this Lime Ricky stuff is just too good, guys. But today we are checking out the brand new Civivi ALTUS, new for 2022 in fact. I've had a chance to carry this thing for about a week and a half now, and I'm ready to give you guys my full impressions. I think this is gonna be the budget king for 2022. Let's get it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Minimalist. My name is Brandon and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be talking about the brand new Civivi ALTUS. There's a bunch of hype and speculation around this knife, and it's due to that push button lock. In this video we're going to be talking about the negatives, the positives, and everything that I think of with this knife. A quick disclaimer, Civivi did send this knife out for review about 2 weeks ago, so it's been in pocket for about 2 weeks. I did let them know that I will be 100% honest with you guys, and we'll be going over this entire knife. Now, in this video, we're not going to be going over all of the nitty-gritty details. You'll be able to find those in the description below. Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, and that is going to be, how does it compare to the ProTech Malibu as well as the Civivi Elementum? Next to the Elementum, this thing is going to be very similar in total length. The Elementum is the budget king, and I think they are literally competing against themselves with this design. The ALTUS is going to be just a tad longer in total length when it is concealed, which I honestly don't mind because it makes up for it in the total width, where the Elementum is just going to be a tad wider than the ALTUS. Now, in terms of the ProTech Malibu, this knife had put the push button locking mechanism on the map, and for good reason. This is one of my most favorite knives of all time, and of course the ALTUS is going to be coming in at half the cost of the ProTech Malibu and some. Now, in terms of dimensions, the ALTUS is going to be quite a bit shorter than the Malibu. The Malibu is going to be more so a medium-sized EDC knife, so this would put the ALTUS right in between a small to medium-sized EDC knife. When you go to conceal both of these, the Malibu is still going to be about a millimeter, just a hair taller than the ALTUS. So there's a couple quick size comparisons just straight off the bat for you guys. Before we get into the negatives, the positives, and my overall impressions of this knife, let's give a quick word to today's sponsor. If you've been following my channel for a while now, then you'll know that I don't really wear jeans or denim pants. The reason being is because I have a few pants that were actually a lot bigger than what would actually fit me, and they tend to sag to the floor. Now, with Groove Life, today's sponsor, they actually sent out this really cool Groove belt, and I believe this is one of the most advanced belts that I've ever used. The reason why I say that is because it features a neodymium magnet to actually connect the belt together. And the cool thing about this specific belt is they go for around 50 bucks. It does come with a 94-year no BS warranty, and it's definitely one of the most comfortable belts that I've used, just due to the fact that this is a little bit more elastic than not. You can pretty much set the belt once and then it will just be good to go, and if you do need to adjust it, you can just simply adjust it via the belt buckle. Another really cool item is going to be this Groove ring. This thing is actually made of silicone, and it does have some slots in there so that way the moisture will just expel. So when you're in a really sweaty situation, that's not going to build up inside the ring, which can get kind of annoying, and then also you risk losing that ring. This thing is super tight and comfortable. It almost feels like you're not wearing anything. It comes with the same exact warranty as the Groove belt, so that means if you break it, you lose it, whatever it may be, they will swap it out with a brand new one. If you're interested in picking up either the Groove belt or the Groove ring, I'll be leaving a link in the description below. Thank you so much to Groove Life for sponsoring this video. It's going to be one step closer to a full-time YouTube career. Now back to the review. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. What are my negative impressions I had for the Civivi ALTUS? There are going to be a few of them, not a ton. Basically, when you go to deploy the knife, I just feel like I was comparing this thing to the ProTech Malibu the entire time that I was carrying this. And as you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, the ProTech Malibu is one of my most favorite knives of all time. The biggest difference between these two knives is going to be when you go to push the button closed. The ProTech Malibu is just super linear and soft and very satisfying to actually get it closed comfortably. Whereas the ALTUS, when I went to go push this button, it just felt a little bit more mushy finishy and not exactly the same as the Malibu. Of course, the Malibu is going to be double the price and it has aluminum scales and everything. When I go to close the Altus, it just has a little bit more of a gritty feeling compared to the Malibu, where it's just super cushiony and soft. The next thing on the list would be the blade finish. This is going to be very similar to any of Civivi's other, I guess, black coated blades. So if you've ever experienced this, then you'll probably know. This black finish is very fingerprint attractive. So I see myself carrying around a Hank a lot and then wiping this thing off just due to the fingerprints. And with this thing being a thumb stud deployed knife, you will have a bunch of prints here next to the thumb stud. That's just something that I don't really enjoy because I do enjoy taking pictures of knives. In terms of functionality, I mean, that's not going to really affect it. But yeah, that's just one of the gripes I had. And then the next thing on the list is going to be this pocket clip. Of course, I am a very huge stickler for a solid pocket clip, and there's a select few that I really do enjoy. Civivi just makes it decent. I mean, it's going to be similar to any other Civivi pocket clip out there. For example, here's the Civivi Elementum. They're pretty much the same exact clip. All Civivis have this kind of weird issue where they're just too tight for me to get into the pocket, and I wish that they would just ease up on the tension there. One other thing is if they could literally just recess the actual pocket clip into the scale, that would make it a little bit easier for it to slide into the pocket, of course. Something like similar to the Malibu, you're paying that extra $100 to get that sort of thing. They've already did a recessed screw, might as well just follow through and make it so that's recessed on the scale. Pretty much all I had for the negatives. Let's jump into the positives. So the overall positives are really good. Of course, this is going to be a thumb stud deployed button lock option that is in the $90 bracket, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Had a few gripes of the action, but when you go to deploy it, it's not bad whatsoever. As you can tell, this thing is just super good in terms of the bearings that it's using, and yeah, it's very just drop shutty. That's one of the huge positives that you get out of this knife. The next thing is going to be the overall design language that you get with this thing. I absolutely adore how thin and how particular it is in terms of blade to scale ratio. I just hate it when you get a really small blade and then a very thick scale, or vice versa. It just doesn't look right. The proportions are just perfect with this thing. It looks fantastic, but it meets the criteria in terms of being a sexy knife. The next thing on the list would be the blade steel that Civivi decided to go for. This is going to be Nitro-V, so it's still going to be very good. If you asked me a year ago to find a knife that had Nitro-V blade steel in the $90 bracket, it would have been pretty hard for me to come up with one. So it's really cool that Civivi has chosen to go with Nitro-V with a lot of their new models compared to the old school D2. It's going to be a lot more corrosion resistant, and it's going to be up there on par with S30V. The next thing on the list is ergonomics. This thing feels great in the hand. It fits all of my fingers, and it just feels good. If they put in a forward finger choil, you know, that would make it feel a little bit nicer, but I don't think you really need that with such a small minimalistic EDC knife. But yeah, guys, there are some of the positives I have for this knife. If you're used to a Civivi knife, just imagine the same type of build quality and same type of feel in reality. Now let's go ahead and give you guys my overall impressions and who I think this knife is for. I believe this knife is going to be for that person that's looking for a decent EDC knife that's not going to be really going crazy, you know, outdoors and smacking on things, but someone that's going to be opening packages every single day, opening letters, stuff like that, just your more generic EDC tasks. And someone that is also looking for something that's very fidgety and fun in the budget bracket. So, I mean, this button lock is still pretty decent. A lot of people aren't going to be able to afford a ProTech Malibu or find one. So if you don't have access to a Malibu, then this would be a pretty sweet alternative. You still get the awesome action of that push button lock, so you can open it up with the push button itself, and then you've got thumb studs, so you can actually spidey flick this thing. It's still just very fidget friendly. Yeah, I think this is probably going to take the budget knife of the year for 2022, unless a lot of the contenders are going to be, you know, putting a push button lock in their knives. This is one of my most favorite locking mechanisms out there aside from the axis lock, and I think this knife is going to do really well against the Civivi Elementum. It's a lot more fidget friendly, it's going to have much better blade steel, and the build quality just feels a little bit better than the Elementum. Is the Altus worth the $90 that you'd be spending on it? Absolutely. I think this is a great knife, and I think these are going to be releasing Q1 of 2022. If you're interested in going ahead and purchasing one of these, I will be leaving an affiliate link in the description below to Civivi's direct website, so that way you guys can sign up for updates on this knife and when they become available. Thank you so much to Groove Life for sponsoring this video. They're going to really help me get to that level where I can just quit my day job and do this full time for you guys. Aside from that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, throw me a thumbs up. If you disliked it, throw me a thumbs down. I know you guys can't see it, but I can, and I want to do do everything in my power to make these videos better. Thank you guys again, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Ooh.